Work, Trump and the Ben Tray Girl. Part 2. Chapter 3. Media Strategy. Donald Trump, a businessman turned politician, understands the power of the media very well. During his presidency, he constantly confronted the so-called mainstream media, where most of the channels were biased towards the Democratic Party and often criticized him. Realizing that he could not change the media, Trump decided to create his own path, the social network Truth Social, where he could convey his message without being limited by the views of large media corporations. At the same time, Elon Musk, a wise technology billionaire, pretended to be on a whim to buy Twitter and reshape it into X, a new and more liberal social media platform, hoping to create a place where people with opposing views to the mainstream could also speak up. Musk understood that whoever controls the media wins, and he wanted to turn X into his own weapon in the information war. This story, though set in the modern world, is a replay of events that took place more than half a century ago. Going back in time, in 1960s Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh also faced the problem of the media when the country had to confront a superpower like the United States. At that time, the American media was dominated by the Democratic Party, and when President Lyndon B. Johnson sent American troops to Vietnam, both Congress and the American media strongly supported it, and at the same time, they attracted more international allies to join the war. A huge media apparatus sided with the war, using images and words to reinforce the view that the United States had to intervene to stop the spread of communism. However, Ho Chi Minh understood that the situation would be different if the Republican Party came to power. He realized that the American media, no longer bound by the goals of the Democratic Party, would react in a different way. And indeed, as the American people began to question the legitimacy of the war, as reports and images of the tragedy in Vietnam spread, the wave of opposition to the war gradually arose. Knowing that he could not directly control the American media, Ho Chi Minh chose to hit his own petard with his own petard, taking advantage of the internal contradictions of the United States to turn the media into political leverage. The Tet Offensive in 1968 was not only a surprise attack on the U.S. military, but also a fatal blow on the media front. The whole world saw the indomitable fighting spirit of the Vietnamese people, while the American people saw the brutality and losses of the U.S. military itself. From then on, opposition to the war in the U.S. grew stronger, and this pressure forced Johnson, who was a Democratic president, to give up his intention to run for re-election. The path for the Republican Party and Nixon opened up. But the story did not end there. Nixon came to power with a promise to withdraw troops and negotiate. The American people were looking forward to a peaceful future, but Nixon suddenly turned around and bombed Hanoi for 12 fierce days and nights in 1972, killing thousands of innocent people. However, despite suffering great losses, the Vietnamese people still stood firm, and it was from that endurance that the righteousness of the Vietnamese people became clearer in the eyes of the world. Ho Chi Minh once said, "If the righteousness of the nation is not conveyed, the sacrifice for independence and freedom will not be known and supported by the world." Thanks to smart strategies, he made the American media become an unwilling ally, so that the righteous voice of the Vietnamese people could resound, touching the hearts of not only Americans but also all of humanity. Returning to the present, the lessons about the power of the media remain unchanged. As the world revolves around social media and the internet, every politician, every leader, be it Trump or Musk, knows that they are facing a vast and fierce media front. Therefore, they must find a way to master the media, to use it to tell their own story, just like Ho Chi Minh did when the world was divided between the East and the West.